Angela Fazio is an industry powerhouse who has overseen 40,000 homes sold and $9 billion in production. And Kristen Cantrell is one of the nation's most accomplished team leaders, helping thousands of agents build their businesses. They are passionate about educating, encouraging, and empowering moms in real estate. Our next episode starts now.
Hey, you guys. Welcome to Moms in Real Estate. I'm Kristen Cantrell.
And I'm Angela Fazio. And today's guest is Camilla Jeffs.
And Camilla's going to be talking to us about building a meaningful business while raising a large family.
I can't wait to
5
talk about
kids.
this.
Yeah. So Camilla, go ahead, get us started and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hey, thanks so much, ladies. So excited to be here. I'm a mom of 5 kids. I had them all within a span of 8 years. So it was like very, very close.
That's a lot in 8 years.
That is a lot.
Yes. Well, I had a set of twins in there, so I kind of cheated, right? So I've been investing in real estate for almost 20 years now. So I've been doing a lot of different real estate tactics and things. And one of my favorite things is involving my family in the business and teaching them and having them do hands-on and all sorts of things. And we've done a lot of fun projects together.
Well, and that's one of the things that I loved when I talked to you was how you involve your kids in your work. And so you have to tell your Airbnb story.
Wait, I think I'm about to feel like a really bad mom.
I know.
I'm pretty sure. I have 6 kids.
That's not.
Yeah, I bet you I'm about to feel really little.
That's not the goal here.
So what are their ages?
Oh, so my youngest is 11, and then I have one boy who is 15. My twins are 17, and my oldest is 19.
Awesome. All right, go ahead. I want to hear it.
Yeah. Well, okay. So one of the tactics that we used when we were young and with all the littles and we didn't have a lot of income to invest in real estate was to do what's called a live-in flip. And with a live-in flip, it's where it's just basically you just buy a junk house and you move into it and then you fix it while you're living there, right? And so that was one of the tactics that we used early on with our family and the way that we acquired a bunch of real estate properties. So we would buy it and we'd get like the best financing, the lowest down payment. We'd move in, we'd fix it up, and then we'd move out and do another one. We just kind of rinsed and repeated for a while. And so it's a lot of moving, yes, and a lot of living in a construction zone. So it's not super comfortable way to live, but it was actually really fun and really fun to look back at pictures of when the kids were really little, like my twins with their arms in the big 5-gallon paint bucket and crying because their arms were covered in paint,
Well, it's like such chaos, but yeah, you're right. When you look back at like the memories, I bet they're so fun. And like just thinking about if you were a kid growing up in that situation, like.
Wait, did you do the renovations yourself?
Yeah. We did. Yeah. We taught ourselves to like do all the renovations and so I'm in charge of tile. That's my specialty. And my husband does, kind of the electrical and plumbing and then we all paint and sheetrock and baseboard and all sorts of things.
I am so impressed.
I know.
How did you learn that?
YouTube. Well, actually, since I've been doing this 20 years, right? YouTube wasn't really that big of a deal before. So we'd like literally go to Home Depot and take the classes and because they would have like little classes on how to tile and, how to do baseboards and, things like that. So we'd go take those classes, we'd buy books and we'd read them and then we'd try it. Just doing it hands-on and learning as you go. That was our method.
Okay, so it's called live in, fix and flip.
Wait a minute. So you did you learned tile.
Mm-hmm.
And do you know how to do tile on an angle?
Yeah.
Well,
if I did that, it would be tile like on a slant.
I know. Well, so my mother-in-law does the live in, fix and flips like all the time. She moves out of state and does them, and she buys I can't ever see past it. I'm always like, you shouldn't buy this house. And then right now she has one and it's like, there's no straight, like everything is an angle in that house and she does it all herself too.
That's crazy.
It's crazy. You guys are very impressive.
Yeah. I mean, so growing up, were you always like working with your hands or maybe creative or?
Mm.
So growing up, my parents didn't do any type of real estate, right? We were the classic family that bought a house and just lived in the same house our whole lives. And we never really fixed it up. We just kind of lived in an old house. It
Yeah.
still has carpet in the bathrooms.
Oh, no.
You know,
Okay, got
but
it.
but, we did a lot of, like, exterior work, like, we were kind of like homesteaders when I was growing up, and it wasn't very cool when I was a teenager, but it's really cool now. It's, like, catching on that,
Yeah.
you grow all of your own food and raise your own chickens and cows
Mhm.
and things like that for meat. And that was kind of my family culture growing up, but never did we talk about money or investments. In fact, it was kind of taboo to really talk about money. We were deeply religious family, and so, money's kind of evil and not really something that you want to aspire to and have, it's kind of one of those necessary evils,
Yeah,
which I really hate that
I
mindset
agree.
now that
Read
I've
the Book
like
of
been able to
Solomon.
get out of it. Yeah. Yeah. Right, right. It's very different. So yeah, so we I mean with my own family, we just decided that real estate was pretty cool, that we wanted to continue to do it. We knew that was a great way to build wealth and also a great way to have this family culture of work, right? Of, like, teaching
Yeah.
the kids how to work. And because we had 5 kids, like, that was important to me to teach them to work. Well, fast forward, past the little years where they couldn't really help very much, like they were just in the way mostly.
Yeah.
And now my kids are teenage years. And oh my gosh, it's like a night and day difference. So our last live and flip that we did was incredible. The kids could do so much work, and it actually happened during COVID. So we bought this house. It was in Arizona. We bought this fixer upper. We moved in, and 6 months later, COVID struck. And so we were all of a sudden we were, like, confined to our house, and we had I was actually so grateful that we had this project to work on because it gave everybody something to do, because I know you guys are probably in the same, like, crazy mode, like, as a mom, like, how do you even handle something like a pandemic? I mean, who knows? I didn't know what to do for my kids, but we were so grateful that we had, like, something that they could work on.
Yeah.
And so it was amazing because we tried making my husband really wanted to do cement countertops. And so it was our first time mixing cement. And it was so fun because the kids just put their swimsuits on because we had to mix the cement outside in Arizona in the summer. It was awful.
Yeah, that'd
And so they'd mix it and then they'd jump in the pool and they'd come back and mix some more and they'd jump in the pool, come back, mix some more. And, but that project was incredible because it was a total gut. Like, we've only done one other total gut before, whereas the rest of them were just cosmetic fix-ups. This was a total gut, and the kids worked so hard. I mean, we put in 18-hour days often on the
Wow.
house and just, going to town, and we, of course, videoed it and filmed it and, put it up on social. It was so fun, and people had a lot of fun following along on
that's
that
cool.
journey.
Oh my gosh. I
Did
think that is an incredible, absolutely incredible experience for your kids.
I know. I know.
I don't know how you could not duplicate that in any other way.
No. Uh-uh.
No,
How
I
did
wanna
your
make sure
concrete
you
countertops turn out?
Yeah, I
Because
wanna know that too.
'cause I
Oh,
know that's
beautiful.
a hard thing, and I might need to hire you because
They turned out beautiful. We did kind of a black and white industrial kitchen, and so some of the countertops we stained. I don't know what the stained black, right? And then others we stained white. And I didn't know that you could make concrete white, like, but you could, and it turned out this beautiful, brilliant white, and it was glossy and shiny, and it was really cool. I mean, we learned a lot of things, and when you pour concrete countertops, one of the things you have to do is get all the bubbles out.
Mhm.
And it was hilarious because my son would, like, pop in his earbuds and he'd turn on a movie, and then he'd have his hammer and he'd be, like, hammering it to get all the bubbles to come up for hours, and
That
just
is
watch a
so
movie
fun.
and hammer.
They're gonna grow up to be
Oh
like,
my gosh,
I wanna
wonderful
know, like, when
people.
they're 30, like, what's going on in your life?
Well, the thing is, the thing I'm so impressed about, Camilla, is when a person understands the value of hard work and planning and patience and creating, because God created us to create. I mean, you know, when those kids are, their brains are even, I'm sure, functioning differently than most kids their age, just to have that, what kind of husbands and wives are they going to be, and parents, and that, I'm so impressed. I really am.
Yeah. Now, before you like throw us all up on a pedestal, I just want all the moms out there to know that not every day was joyous and happy, right? The kids were not always like, they did not wake up in the morning like, okay, mom, I'm ready to work 18 hours, right? Let's go. You know, I have normal teenagers that who are not always motivated and not, you know, are not all excited to do the hard work. And you know, there were many frustrating times during this period, but I think that's the beauty of life, right? Is that, you know, life is not always joyous and it's not always awful. It's kind of 50-50, and that's the way our experience was. It was 50-50. It was, you know, really cool. And the coolest thing is to look back and see what we accomplished, because when you turn something ugly into something beautiful,
I love
that's
that.
really amazing.
And they'll remember like the good times of that too. And thank you for even pointing out that, because I love that you're like, okay, before you put us on a pedestal, because we are like, it's important to tell everybody that although that sounds so glamorous, there were the bad times too. So everyone doesn't feel like little.
But I do. I know,
Don't feel little. Don't feel little.
So let me ask you some specific questions. I actually have so many, I don't know where to start. So do you guys plan it together, or somebody comes up with a plan and they just execute it? That's one question. And then what are the kids gravitate, like, I mean, I know one's a hammer guy, but you know, what do they gravitate towards as far as their skill set? And how did you motivate them to even buy into a project like that? Do you financially reward them at the end of the flip? Do you tell me about all of that?
Yeah. Okay. So let me see. You might have to help me remember all three questions. So I'll start with the first one. You said in the planning. So the planning stage actually was a combined effort, a combined family effort. So we had the kids go on Pinterest, and they were looking at pictures of. We can talk specifically about the fireplace. So we wanted to redo the fireplace and have it be, because it was like this old brown rock I didn't like. And so I'm like, let's modernize it. And so we went on Pinterest and we started looking at pictures. And then from all the pictures, we had a notebook that we would then draw in. And, you know, some of my kids are really good artists. Like one of my daughters is a good artist. And so she would help to draw out, kind of mock out the design plans. Then we would go to Home Depot, and I would take, you know, a couple of kids with me, or Lowe's, right? And we would look at the tile samples, look at the, you know, all the different design elements. Design is not my forefront. It's not, I can't just like come up with something in my brain. I have to see a picture and then try to copy that. And so that's kind of what we did. And of course we put our own spin on it. So it wasn't exactly what we saw in the pictures, but that's how we did the design process. So yeah, kids were involved in the design process too.
I have so many ideas in my head, even if it's not a like just going on Pinterest and finding a project for your family to do is a great idea. Just so everyone puts their like joint thoughts in on it. I love that.
Yeah. And that helps to answer like the third question, right? So how do you get kids motivated to even do something physically laborious, right? Yeah, and that takes time and effort. So one of those is in, you know, helping, letting them be involved in all the aspects, and finding the fun parts of it that they could be involved in. So the funnest part for my kids was actually not the design, it's the demo, right? So it's the day that they get to get the sledgehammers out and just go to town and just, you know, destroy things. That's what they really loved. I think the hardest thing for the kids was probably the fine details at the end, when there's just this never ending list of detail work that has to be done. That's just more fine and hard to make look good. That's when they would get the most frustrated, is when it was like the smaller things that had to be done. And now I forgot like what was the middle question? I think I answered the first and last.
Well, how do you motivate them at the end? And then what have they all kind of gravitated toward? Like you mentioned that one of your daughters, I think, is like more on the artist side, so she can help do that. What about the other ones?
Yeah. Yeah. So the other ones, so my oldest has gravitated towards the business side of it, right? So she has started to really understand the business side of real estate and what benefits can come from investing in real estate. So she's excited about that.
So cool.
One of my twin daughters has decided that she wants to fix and flip houses for a living. She's going to go into the construction industry. She's not going to go to college. She's just going to go straight into real estate and do construction. The other twin
I
daughter
want to
wants to
follow
be
her
a
journey.
doctor. Yeah, well, for sure. Like she has an Instagram and she's going to start doing, more and more projects. And then my son, he of course likes the demo part of it, right? So he'll get involved in that, but he's starting to learn more woodworking, and same with one of my daughters. And then the youngest, we're still waiting to see what she really
Sure.
likes.
11. I mean, 11. I get it.
Yeah.
I'm going to make, I have a real estate school. Any of your kids who want to go to real estate school, I will help them get through with a big discount. Any of them.
That's awesome.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, thank you.
If they
I
want to get their
appreciate
license so
that.
they can save on that part of their journey.
Uh-huh.
So you let me know. I would love to do that. And that can be anywhere in the world. I mean, in the country.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
So I want to get back to, like, you asked if they were financially rewarded, and so
Yes.
this is how we're going to transition into the next phase of the of learning about investing, right? Because investing can be hard work and hands-on, but also can be passive, and so I wanted to teach my kids both. So financial reward. So that last fix and flip that we did, the live-in flip that we did, we sold it and we made a really nice profit. And what I did is I used a tax strategy where it's called income shifting, where you can shift some of your business income to your children. So
Yes.
basically you pay your children for working in the business, right? Now,
Mhm.
did they work? Absolutely. They worked really hard. It wasn't like I just gave it to them for just being my kids. So they worked really hard. So we paid each of them the maximum that you're allowed to shift that will result in zero taxes, right? And so for each child, that at the time was $12,000. Now, think about this for a teenager, right? You have $12,000. Like, that's a lot of money.
Oh my
Right? What are you going to do with that money? Well, here's what I told them. I said, okay, 12,000 is coming to you. 2,000 of that is for you to spend on something fun, right? So, 2,000 of that we're going to give, right? So we always tithe 10% and make sure that we donate to charities. So we're giving 10% of that. And then the other 1,800 you get to spend on something that you want, right? So like a big thing. So my son bought himself a really nice mountain bike because he loves to mountain bike, and so that was really fun for him. I said, but the other 10,000 is going to be reserved for a passive investment. And they're like, passive investment? What do you mean, Mom? And so then we went out and we bought an Airbnb, and we bought a cabin in the woods that's like 2 hours from our house that we can use as a family, and every single kid invested in that cabin. So they each put their $10,000 into the cabin, and then my husband and I, of course, put in the rest that we needed to close on the property. And so now each child owns like 10% of this Airbnb investment. And so now and we just bought it a couple months ago, so it's good just getting up and running, but now they'll be able to start earning passive income from that hard work that they did on that active income.
And then if you guys have any work that needs to be done, like, they probably will be more willing to go out there and,
That's right,
and
and
work
get it
on
done.
it.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Love this whole.
This is absolutely, we've been doing Moms in Real Estate for 6 years?
Yeah.
It's my favorite episode ever. Ever. I'm so impressed
I know.
at the thoughtfulness that you've put into training your children up in this way. I'm
Oh my
so
gosh.
impressed that
And more people need to hear these ideas,
Yeah, I'm wow. I have some lazy kids.
I know.
I'm going to make my daughter listen to this.
Well, she starts working for you this summer, and
Yeah,
it's like
that's
right
true.
around the corner.
All right, true. We're gonna do
Oh,
that.
I love it. So
Yeah, and what a blessing that you're giving to your family to help them to understand money and hard work and a process and bringing something to completion and doing the stuff you don't like because it's necessary to bring it to completion. And then that last step of the Airbnb is so fantastic. Can you imagine when you can involve your grandchildren in things like this? Too early?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Too
Well,
soon.
and another funny story is my daughter came home the other day and she said that there was her tennis coach was asking her if she has a job, and she's like, "No." And he's like, "Oh, do your parents give you money?" She's like, "No." And he's like, "What? Well, how do you get money?" She's like, "I own real estate."
That's
Oh,
so
that would be
good.
so cool.
That's so good.
I love that.
Yes. What a sense of
So
pride
funny.
to have that to be able to say as such a young person.
Yeah, and who here thinks that she should come out to our next Flourish event and speak?
Yes, absolutely.
Like, you have to, because I feel like everybody would just
I won't
have
put you
so
on the
many
spot
notes.
right now, but will you please come speak at our
Oh,
next
I'd
Flourish
love
event in
to. I'd
November?
love
She
to
will,
come
yeah.
and speak.
Like,
Yeah.
I can tell you're like, yes.
Oh my gosh. Anything else that you want to add?
It's just the other thing that I have really loved about it is the closeness that it has brought to our family, right? And so, like, when you work together and you work really hard together and you create something really beautiful together, I mean, it's precious, right? That's not to say we never fought during the process, because we did, but often even in all the hard times, you go through these really hard times together, it just brings your family closer. And I
Mhm.
just, I've loved it. And so I'm looking right now for our next flip opportunity. We're not going to do a live-in flip this time because we have a new house now and it's nice. But we're going to go and we're going to do a regular flip and get the whole family going again this summer
What
for a
state?
summer project.
What state are you going to buy your next flip in?
Texas, that's where we live now.
Yeah, so you are going to do it where you live.
Mhm. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, so we can just drive over there and the kid we can do the work, right? And that's why we do it close by.
How
Well-
far is your cabin from your house?
About 2 hours.
2 hours, yeah.
Okay. Well, that I'm going to tell you, Camilla, that is what a great episode. Thank you so much for being willing to share all of the information that you've given. I'm probably going to re-listen to it, and I've never re-listened to an episode of Moms in Real Estate ever.
Oh,
Not
I'm
because
so
I don't,
glad.
but just because I don't.
Yeah. No, we really, that it was so good. And you
Yeah.
guys, she's also doing a Girl Educate Yourself. So make sure to look out for that, because that will be more tactical things that you can do with your family.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, Camilla. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you.
Thank you.